If I can. All right, what's up, YouTube? You guys are live. Let me move this. I'm just trying to, oops, okay. I'm just trying to get a good angle for you. Let's see. That's all right. Might have to change something here. So if you're up on the YouTube, I see that someone's here. Let me know if you can hear me. Why are there so many shadows? I'm missing a light. Okay, that's a little less shadowy. And let me get it less crooked. Okay. All right, great. Cool, so my angle is good. I'm gonna go live on Facebook. If you're tuning in on a replay, we're starting in a minute and we're just gonna do some self-defense, no warm-up today. All right, I'm live on Facebook now. I'm gonna wait for some people to show up here. What is, oh, that's just the thing that says live, okay. For those of you that are watching this on a replay on my Facebook page or on YouTube, we're gonna start in just a couple minutes. Today I'm gonna do some self-defense moves that we learn in the first little bit of training of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at Plainville Martial Arts, which is my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. So what's up, Mike Gill? Today I'm broadcasting publicly. These are the classes that I'm broadcasting privately to my students, although there's a sort of a library of classes on the PMA YouTube channel if you want to check them out. But basically today I'm going to show some self-defense techniques. I'm going to show some basic self-defense techniques that anybody can learn. And of course, there's going to be some imagination involved because I'm going to be, there is no second person here. So you're going to solo drill if you're interested in doing it. I'm going to be solo drilling, and my students at home will be solo drilling these moves here. So it's just about 11 now. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and jump in with no warm-up. Normally in a class, I'd be doing this with a warm-up. What's up, Drew? And this is going to be exciting for me because I don't usually publicly post this stuff, Tegan, but some of my friends are checking in on the regular Facebook, my regular Facebook page. So we're going to do some self-defense. This is based in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since 1997, which is like just so super long. When I think back on it, I started when not Pedro Sauer, who's my teacher now, when Hoist Gracie opened a school along with his brother in West Hartford, Connecticut. So there was a West Hartford Hoist Gracie Association. And when Eric Sclair, my best friend, found out about it, he told me, we came and went there. I actually moved home from California and we started training there. At the time we were training a lot with our friends. When I say training, I mean fighting in the backyard, just no face shots or nut shots. Those were the rules. And, our group of friends, some of us did jiu-jitsu, some of us didn't. Some of us got into it later. Brad Wolfson joined us a little later. Eric and I started in the beginning. And even just some basic understanding of some jiu-jitsu movements was all we needed to like kind of dominate with our friends who didn't know anything. And that was not an ego thing at all. It's just we learned a little bit of strategy and technique. Okay, so some basic techniques will take you very far. And I'm just going to show some basic techniques today. A lot of people know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now for its appearance in UFC, and the part of the fighting when they start grappling, wrestling around on the ground is when the commentators start talking about their Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is also, though, a complete martial art, meaning there are also if-then scenarios, like what if somebody grabs me by the wrist? And that's like kind of where I'm going to start today, is stuff like that. Stuff like what if somebody grabs you on the street one way or the other, okay? Roger Huerta, what's up, brother? Haven't seen you since the one day I was well in Austria in January. Okay. The rest of the time I was dead in a bed, probably with coronavirus. Okay. I'm going to start with a regular wrist grab. Let's do it. No warm up today. If somebody grabs me by the wrist, presumably this person, well, against my will, right? Presumably wants to take me somewhere I don't want to go. The first thing is going to be to have balance. First thing is going to be to have, what we call base, which is my ability to root myself to the ground and not just be pulled along. Okay, so I don't just want to be pulled by anybody. Nobody has the right to move you in space in a way that you don't want to go. And first, we need to know how to not get moved, and then we can talk about how to escape. Right. So it's going to be survive and then escape. Every one of these moves is going to be there's going to be a survive phase and then an escape phase. Right. First, I want to survive the pull. Someone starts pulling me. I don't want to just get pulled, put in the windowless van, whatever it is, right? So they grab on. First thing I need is balance. So I'm gonna get some kind of lean on, right? I'm gonna lean away from the pull. And a lot of times what I tell my students is this: if I'm standing here and you pull my wrist this way, you're pulling me across the dotted line that connects my 2 feet on the floor. If you picture your 2 feet on the floor, right? And a dotted line in between them. If somebody pulls you across the dotted line 90 degrees, that's the direction in which they have the most leverage. If I can turn sideways so that my dotted line points at the person, then it's going to be harder to pull me. Harder to pull me this way than it is to pull me this way when I have no balance and I would have to step to catch myself. That's it's going to feel very obvious if you ever do it. Okay. In addition to being sideways, this is better. In addition to being sideways, I want to lean away. I want to create some base. So I want to get a little bit lower, and that doesn't mean lower by leaning forward. I actually want to keep a straight back, but I want to lean away. And so what I want is this Annie, are you okay angle right here, where I'm leaning away with not just my upper body, right? Not just my upper body and not just my lower body, because I'll still lose this, but my whole body, okay? My whole body creates an angle like this. Now when somebody starts pulling, your front leg's gonna dig in, you have a good kickstand and so forth. Were they to move around, like come in front of you, they're now pulling you across that dotted line, right? The dotted line that connects your feet. So when they're in front of you, you're going to have to change your angle if they start moving around you. Not very common that someone pulls you and then runs in a circle around you. That's the kind of thing you could drill if you wanted, or that we could drill in class. Okay. So I'm leaning away like this. Okay. This is number one. This is survive. This is have balance, right? All these moves are going to start with balance and survival. Don't get pulled. Okay. So someone's pulling me now. I'm in much better shape, right? If they start to win, I'm gonna move over here. If they start to win, and look, my upper body is no longer a smooth criminal here. So what I need to do is I need to move my lower body. You notice that my wrist doesn't move. I can't expect when I start to lose here that I can pull someone back. That's just oblique. So that would take some inhuman strength. I got to assume, and I will assume for all these techniques, that the other person is bigger and stronger than me. Okay. So they start to pull and win. So now I no longer have this good angle. So I'm not going to move my wrist. I'm not going to be able to pull it back. I'm going to have to move my lower body to get to it. So we truly end up basically in a Michael Jackson video. I'm here. They start to pull. I need to fix my lower body. Okay. They pull again, and I'm here. And it's it's Thriller all over again. Here, and I'm here. They're pulling and winning. Now they shouldn't win. By the time you've done this a little bit, you're going to feel comfortable to where they can't just beat your base. You can have a good base here. And again, my back is upright. I'm not leaning forward. And I think that's maybe the number one mistake. So when someone starts getting pulled, they lean forward so they don't get pulled. If you pull me here, my center of gravity just moved above my hips, and you're going to turn me. Okay? So I don't want that. I want to be here. Closest to a karate horse stance that we will mostly get in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But yeah, that is the kind of thing it is. It's like I'm here, and my back is straight, and I'm leaning away. That's the move, right? If someone was pushing me, we would talk about the opposite, right? We're talking about a wrist grab right now, so I'm not going to get too into it. But if someone was pushing my shoulder or pushing my chest, same thing. They're going across the dotted line that connects my feet. That's going to knock me over. So I turn sideways, and I get this same angle where they push, and the energy goes down through my foot into the floor. Okay. Who's in here? Hey, guys. All right. So that's just having your base. Right, that's survive. And then escape, like if somebody grabs your wrist, there's a one-hand wrist escape. But I think the best thing to show to people who don't know jiu-jitsu, might be way smaller than opponents, than their aggressor, their opponent. And, because, who's watching this? Everybody's watching this. And that's what you want. You want jiu-jitsu to work for everybody. So I'm talking like an 8-year-old girl or like, 4 foot tall person. It should not matter. I'm going to let you use 2 hands to break this free. Okay. So now we've leaned away and in a break in the pull. So while there's a steady pull, I'm going to be leaning away. In any break in the pull that you can, you're going to reach in for your hand and you're going to go get your hand. So the direction my hand is like I am holding a candle or thumbs up, right? So I'm here. I'm going to reach over and I'm actually holding my pinky. So I'm pinky deep. So let me get a little closer to the cameras. I'm reaching over and holding my pinky here. Thumb is still up, right? And I'm not just going to pull. This right here is, it's true that I'm using 2 hands. This is like a little bit of tricep with this arm and a little bit of bicep with this arm. I'm not going to say left and right because the image is reversed on Facebook. But instead of just pulling, what I want to do is give them an even trade. I'm not going to just pull my hand back from this wrist grab someone's pulling me. I'm here. When I reach in, I'm going to trade for my elbow. So I have to give them my elbow. That's honestly going to create the leverage that you need to break that grip. No matter who is grabbing you, no matter how much bigger than you they are. Okay. So someone grab me and I'm here so I don't get pulled. In any break in the pull, I'm going to reach in and not pull because that's all it looks like a bicep curl, right? I don't want that. I want this. That does mean that my lower body gets a little closer to them. And it does mean that even my face gets closer to my opponent, to my aggressor. But it's just this moment to break free. And then you can create distance. I would recommend that you put your hands up and start making noise, depending on the situation that you're in, to draw attention so that people know something is going on. Someone's doing something against your will, right? Someone grabs my wrist and they start to pull me. I'm going to have to get into this angle here. My back is straight, but leaning away, okay? And then I'm going to move over here. And then in any break in the pressure, I'm going to reach over. Thumb is up. So any weird way you're twisted. Thumb should be up. Reach over the top, grab your pinky underneath. And don't just pull, because that would take more strength than leverage. And we have to use all the leverage we have because we have to assume they're bigger than us. Trade by feeding them to your elbow. And you're going to find, if you ever do this with maybe you're doing this to your sister, wife, daughter, dog at home, you're going to notice that when you do that, there is no way to hold on. I have kids do this to their big, contractor dads. No problem. Everybody's getting out. Okay. So that's that basic first wrist escape. Okay. Okay. Now it's going to take a little more imagination to picture this. Being put in a headlock is going to be one of the very most kind of common attacks that someone's going to do when they're mad at you. It's like a lizard brain attack. Like since the dawn of time, we've grabbed each other's heads when we've been angry with each other. Okay. And a headlock is this. I'm intentionally doing kind of a hard 1 second, and then things will get easier. Move is easy, but imagining it might be hard. When someone puts you in a headlock, they step in front of you and they grab your head. This is like a stockade now. Only your head is through here and the rest of your body's back here. Hey, Pam. Okay. So the head is here, rest of their body is there. And that's gonna be you in a sec. You got caught in a headlock. Okay. But first I just want to establish that when someone puts you in a headlock, they don't reach around you and they're behind you. They're in front of you. That's gonna be important. Okay. So only your head is through here. Maybe your arm is around here. Okay. And that's what we're gonna want. Okay. Here's the headlock. Now I'm gonna be the person that got caught in the headlock. Okay. Someone puts me in a headlock. The number one thing I want to worry about is the other hand at first. They grab my neck. That's not good. I want to have my balance. That's maybe also the first thing I want to make sure I don't just get thrown to the ground, because one of the pieces of a headlock is they can kind of throw you around. So make sure you have balance. But then the number one problem really is the other hand. The other hand is a punching hand. That's not our friend. The other hand is a grabbing hand. I might grab on for a tighter grip on the head, make it more vice-like. And that's not good. So we don't want the other hand getting into play when we get put into a headlock. So somebody puts me in a headlock, number one thing I'm going to do is shoot my hand across. There's an argument for like trying to win the hip battle here too, for the jiu-jitsu people, and we can talk about that another time. But just for the average person who just got caught unawares in a headlock and they got leaned forward a little bit, I'm going to put my hand across. And when I put it across, there's another benefit that happens here, and that is that all the space disappears here. Now, for someone reaching around my head, trying to grab my head, you know, a headlock can be a choke if their hand sinks under here. Now it's a choke, okay? So that's real bad news. When someone puts me in the headlock, here I am, boom. My arm shoots across. My chin to my shoulder means it won't become a choke. And the other thing I want to do is look, make sure my chin faces my opponent. Again, there's video online of plenty of fights with headlocks in them, and a headlock can be a choke. You could put somebody unconscious with a headlock. So you do not want to be the person that gets put unconscious with a headlock. So we do this, and we're going to turn our chin in. Now, when I grab the head of somebody, if you can picture, and they turn their chin in, there's no way this becomes a choke, okay? So survive. Number one, get your balance and survive. So that's this, okay? Okay. So now, they are here. Only my head and arm are through. And I'm going to reach around behind this hand, which just blocked their far arm, is going to sort of hand it off to this hand. I'm going to hold this one behind their back. What happens to them is they went for this, but I blocked this arm, and now my other hand's coming around the back and like kind of pinning this to their side. And that's what you want. That's what this hand is doing here. I'm here, and I feed it to here. If you want it deeper, you can grab the wrist and feed it even deeper. And what happens is this. You pin this to their side, and now it's even further behind them. So now getting punched is a little bit off the table, okay? So you get put in a headlock. Number one, balance, get your arm across and block. Now, that's phase one. Phase two, control both arms. This arm, we're trying to grab behind the person's back. This one that's wrapped around my neck, I'm going to hold the wrist and pin it to my chest, okay? So I'm not going to try to unwind it. I'm just going to hold it, pin it to my chest, and then footwork, right? So far we've done phase one, which was balance and survive. Phase two, which is control the arms. Phase three, it's going to be footwork. I'm going to step back. So I'm parallel to them now with my right foot, the one in front of them. Step back with the front foot, stretch them out, like even look over your shoulder. Step back with the back foot, and now I'm actually behind their back with like a hammerlock, with like a you're under arrest situation, okay? So let's move one more time. Somebody puts me in a headlock. They got my head in the stockade. I'm going to make sure my arm's in there too. Block the far arm. Feed to my other hand. Okay, so that base and blocking the far arms, phase one. Phase two, control both arms. Here's the far arm. Control the near arm. Control it to your chest. Now step back with your outside foot, the one that was in front of them. Step back with your rear foot, and we'll be putting their arm behind their back. Okay, this one may be harder to imagine. The rest will be easier. We'll just do this one more time. Somebody puts me in a headlock, but then they start trying to throw me around. Number one is get your base. Don't just get thrown around, but don't let the other hand punch you or close up the vice if you can help it. So we're going to block that far arm. That's phase one. Phase two, control the arms. Far arm first. You don't want to get punched. This one matters the most. Then the one grabbing your neck, connect it to your chest. Step the front foot back and stretch them out. What's happening is this to them. Stretch them out. Step behind them. Put the arm behind the back. Okay, basic headlock, self-defense situation. And it puts you in a position, once you have their arm behind their back, once you're here, I mean, you really could hurt the shoulder if you want to. Or what I teach kids is, after they get out of the headlock, push the kid away. And hopefully that's the end of the altercation. That gives them a chance to run if they want to run, but hopefully that's the end of the altercation. They've established they're not easily going to be picked on, right? That's the idea. Okay. Next one. We're going to talk about I'm going to do 8 moves. I'm going to do 8 moves. That's 2. Okay. So I'll be here for the next, 20 minutes doing moves. Okay. Next one, bear hug. Let's talk about if somebody grabs me around the waist. Okay. From the front. We'll talk about from the back too. Those are the other ones that we'll do. Someone comes up in front of me, reaches under we'll start with under your arms. Someone reaches under your arms and grabs you. This could be to pick you up against your will and take you somewhere. This could be an unwanted hug even, right? For the, in particular, I find that for my women's self-defense classes and seminars that they're like, oh, I could really use this. Okay, so good, please do. Someone comes under your arms. They have control of your torso, but your arms are free still. So we're gonna use our arms, right? And hopefully on their way in, we're gonna create just a little bit of a blockade here with your forearm. Not your, this is squishy, but with the blade of your forearm, and where we're gonna put it across their neck, okay? Somebody goes to grab me around the waist, put it in the frame, and then I'm gonna support it with my other hand, and that's a C grip, okay? So I have a C grip here, boom. So this frame right here You know, we can in the kids class, we can line kids up and say, okay, show us your frame, and they'll do this, and we'll come up and we will lean a ton of weight on it. This is actually a very strong structure. It's one of the things all over jiu-jitsu is we use that frame to protect ourselves from someone trying to crush us down, right? And that's what's happening in free space when someone goes for a bear hug. They reach underneath, we'll put the forearm across the throat, support it with this grip, and then we're gonna do, it's gonna look like the Michael Jackson video before a little bit, or like a mime in a glass cube. I'm gonna back my hips away, okay? I back my hips away. It's gonna be really tempting the first time you do this to someone who comes in for a hug and you put that frame in and you support it to push them off. Well, it's nice to imagine you're strong enough to do that to everybody, but you're not. You're not. Someone's stronger than you. I don't care how big you are, right? Unless you're Matt Somick, and then probably no one's stronger than you and bigger. Okay, but put this frame in. I'm going to support it with this other hand. I don't even know if Matt's watching. Support with this other hand, and now I don't move them. I move me. A bear hug. The winner of the bear hug, or you've lost the bear hug when they control your torso. Okay, so I'm trying to get my torso away from them. Okay, I don't do it by moving them. Just to reiterate, I move myself. Okay, so if someone comes in for the unwanted hug, you put the no thank you, right? You put this in and you back up. It might seem a little extreme for like a party when someone goes to hug you. So you know, it's going to be up to you when to use this, but it's going to be obvious sometimes when someone's coming in trying to control you, trying to grab a hold of you in a way that you don't want. You can do this, just this. Put the frame in, support the frame. That's a C grip. And back yourself away. Your torso is now too far away to get a good hold of. And you can now start to make noise and draw attention to your situation, okay? And hopefully someone will come help you, or this is enough to show somebody, again, that you're not easily gonna be moved or taken advantage of, okay? And that's enough for some attackers. Let's do this. If somebody comes in, but they grab over your arms, it may be the next logical question in your mind. Someone has grabbed me around the waist, under my arms, and I created a frame, and then, you know, same person wised up and came and grabbed me over my arms from the front. Now this is never innocuous. This is never someone just gave you a hug. So there is no overreaction here. And you'll notice though that I'm not going to ever have you like kick someone in the balls, right? It's not going to be our answer to strike someone in the balls. You know, there are drugs that take away our sensitivity to pain. Some people, that takes accuracy, that takes strength, and you don't want to be counting on accuracy, strength, and somebody's ability to feel pain. You just want to use the leverage to separate your body so you have a chance to escape. And that's like the forte of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Using leverage to create or break controls is why it's used by our law enforcement, military, and those around the world. Okay. Someone grabs over your arms. Now they're pinned. You have a real problem now, because before you had arms to do something with, push them off, right? When someone pins your arms, presumably your elbows at your sides, now you can't go anywhere, okay? And I'm saying, again, they've come up to me from the front and pinned my arms, okay? But the answer is going to be the same. The answer is going to be the same as before, in which we framed and escaped. But how is it going to be the same with no arms? I do still have the ability to connect to them on a bony landmark that you'll find on everybody, and that's their hip bones. Hip bones, everybody's got right here. If somebody pins my arms to my sides, I'm going to block the hips like this. Now, you do not want your thumbs here. So I'm not doing this to their hips. I'm doing this to their hips. The reason I don't do this is because some weird shift of angle could like break my thumb, wrist. So I don't want to get into that mess. Someone grabs me over the arms and pins them. I'm going to block the hips, right? And same thing, I'm going to back myself away. This wedging, this sandwich sign kind of effect is a lot of leverage. And again, you have started to win the bear hug when you've escaped your torso from their control, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. There in jiu-jitsu, there's more. There's follow-ups we could back away and then kind of do a throw. But I'm not gonna try and teach that to people who are just checking out jiu-jitsu for the first time. And that's not even a requirement for students of mine, and my intention is to cover sort of their early requirements on knowing self-defense. So if someone grabs me under the arms, I have my arms for a frame. If someone grabs me over the arms, I have my hands on their hip bones. Not this, but this, not this. You know, don't get your thumbs broken. Boom, and back away, okay? Again, I have kids do this to their parents. This works, this is for real. You might get questions like, what if someone's way taller than me? I'm trying to think of frequently asked questions on these. What if someone's way taller than me and they grab me under my arms, right? So if someone comes and grabs you way on here, you might say, well, I'm not going to be able to frame way up here. Like, this is going to be ridiculous. But actually, these moves are based around your height, aren't they? When someone comes in to grab you around the waist, if I'm way taller than you and I want to grab you around the waist, I'm going to come down to where you are. And that's when you're going to be able to frame way. Okay. Who else is in here? Jay Dumont, what's up? Brad Wolfson. Tough opponent. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm going to show two more moves. Yeah, I'm going to show two more moves. Okay, it's 11:23, so we've been going for 20 minutes. I'm going to show two more moves, okay? Can you see me here against the wall? Yes, on Facebook and on YouTube where I'm simulcasting. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about a one-hand choke. Somebody is pinning me against a wall here, pinning me by the throat against the wall. Okay. Number one, believe it or not, even though I'm being pinned against the wall, number one still is going to be to get my balance and survive. And survive is obvious, but you actually do want your balance too. So you want to get a little bit in your base here because we're gonna want to be able to move. Okay. But how do you survive when somebody is choking your throat? And for this, I'm just going to get a little closer. Okay. With my students, I'll do something where we'll put the C grip on the throat, lean against the wall, and then person on the wall just tap out, right? Nice relaxed neck. Somebody comes up, chokes you. Okay, that sucks. That's when I'm going to tap, when it's uncomfortable. So, and then I'll have the students harden the front of their neck. So we do that with our ugly face, or I mean, that's just the best way to describe it. That's how I describe it to adults, and that's the way I describe it to kids. Everybody picks it up pretty much right away. You want to put your chin to your chest, and you want to show your bottom teeth and shrug your shoulders. Three things: chin to your chest, teeth, show your bottom teeth, and shrug your shoulders. Okay, like this. Okay, it's not my best look. It's not my profile photo. Okay, if someone goes to choke you, you want to harden the front of your neck. Those are the three pieces: chin to your chest, show your bottom teeth, and shrug your shoulders. It's a good look. Okay, but you got to do your ugly face. So in class, when I have somebody choke somebody, okay, tap out. Then I have them do the ugly face and do this. Some people never tap. I haven't had anybody tap me doing my super strong ugly face. Okay, so that's survive. Actually, on this one, survive on this one is as easy as make your ugly face. Someone leans here, I might tap, but here with my ugly face, it's hard to even access my neck. But let's say they even got their hand under my chin. You know, the muscles across the front of our throat, are actually strong enough to withstand a really good amount of pressure. So I'm going to be here, and then there's going to be one side of their choking grip that is thumb only. So there's 4 fingers on one side and just 1 on the other. When someone's choking me against the wall, I'm going to look for which side is the thumb side. If this is the thumb side, this side, then I'm going to be here, and I'm going to strike the thumb side with a battering ram, not a fly swatter, but like a battering ram. I'm going to strike it off this way. I don't think I've met anybody whose hand I could not knock off doing this, especially somebody, you have to remember that their pressure is coming forward. You're only changing it by 90 degrees or less, because when you start to knock it off, it's going to go at an angle. But also, they're not expecting necessarily this move, right? In jiu-jitsu class, sometimes you'll have a partner who's like, well, I see what you're doing, I'm going to try to stop it. And that's how the rest of jiu-jitsu came to be, honestly. But someone's choking you, you're going to knock off the thumb side with a battering ram, not a fly swatter. Knock that off, and you'll notice that you're already chambered. I actually allow my heel to come off the ground here to turn my hips so that when I come back with an elbow strike, that I'm hitting the person in the head. The other reason that I'm guaranteed to be hitting the person in the head is when they're choking me like this, usually somebody doesn't just stand casually and choke you like this, right? Usually they are leaning in. What'd you say about me? That's my parking space. That's my stool. Give me back my lunch money. Okay. They're leaning. I'm leaning hard. When you knock that hand off, they're going to fall forward. When you knock the hand, the post that's carrying their weight, they're going to fall forward. It's very common sense. So I'm here, ugly face. I knock this off, and I come back with an elbow strike. Okay. I'll do it on this wall in case it's a better angle. Someone's pinning my head against the wall. I'm going to make an ugly face, get my balance. I'm looking for the thumb side. If it's this side, I'm going to knock it off here and come back with an elbow strike. If it's the other side that their thumb only is on, Then here's my batting ram. I'm gonna knock it off here and come back with an open straight. Okay. And the last one that we were gonna do today. Oh, okay. Well, A and B. I'm gonna give you two more actually. If somebody comes up behind you and grabs you by the throat like this, someone sneaks up behind me and wraps their hand around my throat, stands behind me. Okay. This is like almost like the archetypical attack that you want to know an answer to. Someone came up from behind me and they grabbed me around the neck, right? And now they're whispering in your ear like, you're coming with me, and it's all creepy, right? They're behind you and they grab you here, okay? If somebody's behind me, and I'm going to answer what might be a lingering question after I show this one for the next answer. Yeah, and blood, right? So when somebody grabs me like this, if their hips are behind me and square, it's honestly as simple as this. I'm going to get my balance again. I'm going to make my ugly face again. Every choke that somebody would put on me, I would make that ugly face, right? That's show your bottom teeth, tuck your chin, shrug your shoulders. So I'd go here. I'd grab their arm and not pull it out. They're choking back. I'm not going to pull out. I'm going to pull down. I'm just going to attach it to my chest. I'm going to attach it to a near target. They were going for my throat. I'll give them my skeletal structure. Then I won't get choked. Someone grabs me here, attach it to me. And if their hips are right behind me, I should be able to lower myself, and actually their feet will get picked up, and there's a throw there for me, okay? And this takes a little practice to get used to bearing somebody else's weight a little bit long enough to throw them. But I mean, I have 5 foot tall 10-year-old girls throw me in class. So anybody can do this. It's just a matter of knowing how to brace yourself a little bit and carry some weight, right? But somebody grabs me from behind, I'm going to be here, right? Immediately get my base, connect to their arm, and connect their arm to my chest. So their arm comes off my throat onto my chest, and I'm looking with my butt for their quads. If you want some like high level detail, look for their center of their quads right here, halfway to their knee, with your butt contact. And then when you lean forward, they're going to come off the ground, and we can actually just throw them by looking behind ourselves. So someone comes up behind me, boom. And here's the throw. Sounds very simple, and it actually is really simple once you've done a couple of them. Mark Hookrow, what's up? One of the most technical, one of my very favorite Pedro Sauer black belts. I'm always watching your live videos. In fact, it's because of Mark Hookrow that I decided to put this on my page and share what I'm doing with my non-jiu-jitsu friends, because he does it regularly. So thank you for being here, Mark. Last move is, okay, well, yeah. Sometimes they come up behind me and they put in a choke and they just stand there. But it might even be more common that someone would come up behind, put on a choke, and like sort of lean me back. Now I'm a little more helpless, right? It might be that they're thinking of dragging me, or just anyway, making me more helpless. I'm off my balance now. So it is a better attack, honestly, for the person from behind to be leaning me backwards. But thankfully we have a move for this too. This will be the last technique that I share with you guys. It's gonna look the same in what I attempt to do in the beginning, which is get my base and put my hands in, but I'm losing my balance because they're taking it from me here. I'm gonna presume that if they put their right arm around my neck, that their right leg is forward. And I think it's a fair presumption, and I can show you why. If I attack somebody like this and lean them back, I'm able to bend them over my hip, and that's why they're leaning backwards. That's where I get the leverage to bend them backwards. Okay, even if I'm no student of leverage. I grab somebody and I do this. Okay, so what I said before was the choking hand is the same arm as the leg that's forward. So just to test that hypothesis, let's try, this is super uncomfortable. I would never, ever try to grab someone by the neck and lean them over this hip. So I truly believe if I see their right arm, that their right leg is right here, right behind me, right? If they do this, their right leg is going to be right there. So I'm going to assume it's the right arm, which is the one near you. I grab the choke. I try to attach it to my chest. I try to get my base, but they've leaned me back. But there's a foot right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm actually going to change my angle a little bit to give you some floor. Okay. Here. I know their foot's right here, so I'm just going to go calf to calf. I'm on the ball of my foot. Okay. I'm not putting my heel down. I go calf to calf, okay? I put my elbow on the side I just stepped back with in my pocket. I'm not turning when I do that. I'm still facing this way. I'm just doing this, okay? There's a reason we do it. I'll explain it for the curious afterwards. So I try to save myself, and I'm getting lean back. I know that if it was the right arm that came in, that the right leg's right here, okay? So I block that leg. I put my elbow in my pocket, and now looking over my shoulder, I do a 180. Okay, so now you can see that I have good balance. But what you maybe can't see or haven't yet imagined is that what happened to the person who was holding on to me is when I did a 180, they're now like this. So we went from both of us leaning back, but they have good base, to I'm leaning forward and they're in terrible base. And it's going to be as simple as bowing to take them down the rest of the way. Okay, someone grabs me from behind, I connect, I lose my base, but it was the right hand that came in. So I know their right leg is right here. So I go here, elbow in my pocket. I'll tell you why in a sec. And now look over your shoulder, and you're going to do a 180 right here. Now, all I have to do is bow, and they're going to fall. Okay. So let me be true to my word here. I said I would explain why I put my elbow in my pocket. You would know why if I had you partner up with somebody and you tried to just do it without that piece. If I had you get lean back and hold on and block the ankle and turn around, what you'd find is they could follow you, right? I did what you said. I held the arm, I blocked the foot, and then I did a 180. If I don't put my elbow in my pocket, it's easy because I'm upright that they just orbit me, right? Stay behind me. The reason it gets harder when I trap the foot and I put my elbow in my pocket is because I just got heavy on one side for them. Two reasons. I just got heavy on one side for them. So they were here, and now it's like this a little bit. So it's going to be harder to walk around you. The other thing is your hip shoots out when you do this, right? It's nothing I described, but it is something that happens, right? So when I put my elbow in my pocket, my hip shoots out a little bit. So not only is the guy behind you like this a little bit, trying to come around, but your butt's in the way, okay? So that's why that's a piece, okay? So that move one more time. Someone grabs you from behind, tries to lean you back. I hope I proved to your satisfaction that the right arm coming in means the right leg is in front. So I see that right arm, I'm here, I get leaned back, I know the foot is right here. Elbow in my pocket before I turn, and then 180 and bow. So I want to thank anybody who came and checked it out on my Facebook page. These are non-jiu-jitsu people who had the interest or patience or curiosity to check out what I'm doing in my classes. For my students, thanks for being here. You guys know these are our fundamentals. These are the things you need, some of the things you need to know for white belt, for our standing defense, self-defense. And standing self-defense, when we see things like a frame, that frame we put in, the way we create space, a lot of the movements we learn standing do translate on the ground. And like I said in the beginning, so many people now know BJJ because they talk about it in UFC commentary when it goes to the ground, they start grappling around. And that's absolutely part of this art. It's an important part of this art. But as a complete martial art that doesn't stand alone from the lineage of time going back thousands of years for all the other martial arts, those answers are there and have been fine-tuned in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's way to answer questions like, what if somebody grabs you in a headlock, grabs you from behind? So we have answers for those. So that's just a little bit of self-defense I wanted to share today. And it's a review especially for my higher ranked students. Thank you guys for being here. And I want to thank Facebook people for checking it out of curiosity or whatever else. And it's good to see some of these names. What's up, Dina? Anthony? Okay, cool. Thank you guys. I'm gonna stop the feed here on Facebook. If you want to see any more stuff like this, I actually have more classes that I've broadcast on not Facebook, on YouTube. There's a sort of a library position by position of movements. And I'm going to be doing more self-defense this week. So if you want to go to the YouTube channel for Plainville Martial Arts, that's where you would find that. Of course, if you're my friend, talk to me if you're interested in learning more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Won't be long now before we are back on the mats, and I would love to have any of my friends come down and be students. So we'll see you guys soon. Thank you. And thank you to my YouTube peeps, and have a great rest of your weekend. I hope this was elucidating or a good review for you. All right, guys, take care. I'm on Facebook now.